you are live? Okay. Good.
Yeah, I think we're live.
If it says you're live, you're most probably.
Yeah, most probably, but we know how YouTube is, don't we?
5-second delay. It's not live yet.
Yeah, there we go.
There's an upcoming, it still says.
All right, you want to press the thingamabob, the who's moving, and we'll see if we are live.
Oh, yes, you are.
All right, let's do it. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the Weekly WAYPN. And I'm...
Persephone.
No, I'm Karl.
I'm Sunny.
And we have...
Persephone.
Sorry. Yes. Sorry. We're terrible at this. AKA...
Henry and Sangeeta.
There we go.
Yeah.
So, let's get to it. We have roughly all of the Discord on with us watching along.
Yes.
So, would you like to read out the first entry?
Lance, what a difference lighting can make. Bear with me on some of the trials. I love this purple.
Yeah, I think the purple's looking great. The only thing that I was thinking about is, like, because Lance wants to make tabletop miniatures, and that's one of the things that we should point out, that we do this according to what the people want rather than, our own personal preferences. So he's trying to, get miniatures out as quickly as possible. I do think just here on the book, just a simple wash on that, and especially on here to sort of exaggerate those various areas, I think that could really help. And I don't think it would take too much time away.
Yeah, not at all. Because everything's popping quite nicely. You can tell all the different elements. And it's good as is, but just a little extra just to bring out those nice details.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah. What about the rest of the Discord? What do we think?
I'm quite a big fan of the purple cloak, actually. It's done very nice.
It's like
I like the color.
Yeah.
I like that bluish purple color, but I just like blue purples general. And the armor looks pretty neat. That what you said about like washing a little bit of those almost golden parts on the belt buckle, I'd say.
Yeah.
I can attest to that. Some reddish wash on the gold can make a lot of difference in like how things pop.
Yep. All right. Well, I think we will move on to the next one.
Oh boy, look
which
at
is
this.
Which is Larry.
Oh, Larry.
So we have our resident Larry, who's somewhat enthusiastic insomniac. So would Larry be able to read out for us?
Insomnia posting, did some skin work, good practice since it's not always my strong suit. Had some help from Mr. Green Jeans, the space elf, and a surprisingly enthusiastic organist. The elf head turned out well, I think, and was smoothly blended from a darker on the right side and lighter on the upward turned left side. The organist, I think he looks okay in the pictures, but he looks kind of rough to me in person. Although I used the same technique for both of them. I started with the dark red and moved up in flesh tones, 3 different paints, mixing them together for a total of like 5 different shades. And as I kept moving up in shade or value or whatever their name is, the lighter I got, the more I thinned it down. I never really got to a glaze point, but it was starting to get there by the time I finished.
I see. Well, yes, it is a very enthusiastic organist that we have here.
So enthusiastic, their passion increased their body temperature so much that they had to be bare-skinned as they played the organ.
I think they call that naked.
Yes.
I'm just going to
say... He is the nude organist. The nude organist from Monty Python.
I mean, we've all done it once or twice.
Where it's such a thing? Jeez. Now
He's on... Watch the show. He's on several episodes.
I like to point out something. I really love how you've done the skin here. I didn't notice it at first, but now I figured out what it is. You've got nice red shadows, which you always want. With shadows with skin have a reddish undertone, but then the highest point of the skins have a bit more yellowish highlight, and that creates that very naturalistic look of skin, and I think that's also because you've got the fats. Fats are yellow, so that shines through the layer of skin, and that makes it look so realistic. And I just figured that out right now, so I think you did a great job there.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with that. The only thing I would say is, if anything, like the hair needs a bit of work, but this is a whip. I understand because, like, obviously you haven't done the seat and everything else.
Yeah, just the skin.
Yeah, and I'd say for just the skin, it's come up fantastic.
Yeah,
I like that it looks like a person. It doesn't look like a doll sort of thing.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
So with old mate over here, the whites are a bit blinding. That's going to be a part of something else though. That's going to be the start of your gemstone effect, is it?
Gemstone?
On
the white parts.
On the scout? Oh, sorry, not scout. Striking scorpion.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was still looking at the organist. Yeah, those are. Yeah, the white got a little messy on there, but it's going to be a gemstone effect.
But I really love how you've moved from a bluish green for the shadows to a yellow green for the highlights, which really shows that. I think like that's analogous in a way.
Yeah.
And
I think it's like one of the best ways to do greens, in my opinion.
Yeah, or like highlighting and shadowing in general.
It's
very nice when you use like analogous highlight and shade.
Yeah, and I know it's just a work in progress, but is there anything else you want to say about it, or should we move on?
The hair I did on that's the same deep red that I used for the base on the skin, and of course everything had been airbrushed green up to that point. So when the red went on the green, it turned very brown, which I think looks pretty cool. I just gotta figure out what tones to use to shade it now.
It definitely pops. Yeah.
And look, this is something else to remember, guys. Just listen to how some people do their process, and that might help you, because things like this, you do one project over here, and you might be able to use something from that project over here. So just consider that when you're doing whatever it is that you're doing. All right, so next up, we have... All right.
Put extra effort into his
Surcoat.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well,
everything looks great, but
the beard
because he's gone for the yellow rather than a bone to make it really look blonde.
Yeah. So I think that could be fixed up. I think maybe one of the reasons he wants to avoid the bone is because of how light the gloves are.
Oh, okay.
Right? Like he doesn't want that to sort of match that other stuff. But I do agree with you, like a more bonish sort of colour for the blonde does work out a lot better. But other than that, I think it's pretty good. I do think that, you know, when it comes to all of that, it's looking nice. And I mean, let's take a look at it. He's trying for tabletop. He's getting the miniatures out there, and I think his goal is 100 miniatures a year. Is it?
Is he still doing that? I thought he only wanted to meet 100 minis last.
Oh, okay.
By the start of this year, and I think he met that goal. I'm not sure if he's still continuing.
He met the goal, but I'm saying, like, I think that's his sort of yearly goal.
Ah, right.
But I will have to check up on things.
Yes.
All right. So when I take a look at the coat, I think that it's come together really well. I think
the shadowing. And
I think the straps have come together well. I think, like, I take a look at it, and the only thing that I would really complain about is that base rimming, other than the beard. I mean, you want to just tidy that up, and I don't know why he doesn't do black rims, because, like, black rims would really help set his models on the base, I think, because often it's got that sort of streakiness in it, and black has much better coverage, and I think that would just... But that's personal preference. It's not necessarily like a bad thing. Alright, so next up,
we have Andy.
Would you like to read out for Andy?
Spent some time working on the Nightshade Sisters today. Feel like 2 are done and progress is being made on the 3rd and the base. Time to take a break. Need to cook dinner, but it's been a good afternoon's work.
Yeah, they're looking pretty good. But let's take a bit of a proper look at them. Alright, because I think that he's done a fair bit of work. I think that the eyes are a bit wonky though.
I don't mind it just because it's like a shocked expression he's going for.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think like that could be tidied up a bit. Like that's the only thing that I look at where I'm like, oh, well that definitely needs to change. What do you think of it?
I can see from afar how it feels very jarring,
Mm-hmm.
but when we went closer, it didn't look that bad.
Yeah, but remember we've got
We've
both.
got to see it from afar.
Yeah, there's the 3 feet and the 2-inch rule. So I think most people are going to be seeing it from 3 feet, and certainly you're going to start from 3 feet away. So that's why I think that's really important to fix, because we are humans. We do fixate on faces.
Yes, this is true. But I love the shoes and the socks. It came out really nicely. Again, you've got the cool tone shadowing and the warp tone highlights, and that really makes it pop.
I agree. All right. We'll take a look at...
I love the magenta back.
Yeah. We'll take a look at this other sister because she's new. I'll tell you... she
Is she new? Maybe she wasn't painted the last time?
No, she wasn't. I think there's a bit of texture with whatever he's using to spray. So just sort of look out for that. I'm not sure what you're using to spray, but I'm guessing that's what's giving you some of the texture, because I've had problems with that before.
Yeah.
But what do you think of the sort of stocking area?
The stockings is spot on.
Oh, okay.
Or you don't feel that it is?
I don't know, because it all depends. Like, it seems that depending on a woman's age, they'll either go for those slightly brown stockings, or they'll go... But younger women seem to go for those straight black stockings. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, I don't know. I'm not an expert on stockings. That's why I'm asking you.
I feel like it works. I think it's also because it blends in more with the reds and it doesn't take too much attention away. But I think that style of stocking, the color, seems like very retro. And so, I mean, clearly the model and the outfit is very retro, so he's probably going for that.
Yeah. But yeah, I do think when it comes to, especially the posterior around here, that you could really push some of these highlights.
Yeah, because it's clearly designed in such a way to bring emphasis
to that,
the tushy. So, tush it up.
Tush it up. All right, guys. What do you guys think of what Andy's been doing?
I really like the hair color on the first figure.
Yeah, I'll go to it.
I like that reddish auburn color because combine it with the pigtails. Reminds me of Pippi Longstocking.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
That actually.
Yeah.
Halloween Pippi Longstockings.
Yeah. That's cool.
Is that character?
Sorry?
Maybe this is a bootleg version of the character?
No, I believe, it's the Night Sage Sisters.
Pipey short stockings or something.
There you go.
Hippie short stockings. But yeah, I think that it's definitely all going in the right direction, but I hope to see some of it more completed soon. That was good English, more completed. Alright.
Must be
Me bad English, that impossible. You ready to read out this one?
Lance
Yep.
have been stabbing away at this one for a bit. Interesting piece to try and get right. Some detail could be more well defined. Even so, fun to paint.
So the only thing that I would say with this one is the skin is quite yellow.
Yeah, it is.
I would say like maybe try and tone that down a bit. Like that's the only thing that I think because it.
How do we fix?
Maybe just like a really thin layer of any sort of natural base. Like I don't like Bugman's Glow for this because Bugman's Glow just has way too much red in it, in my opinion.
It does.
But there's, I think, this is an older paint, but there's one called Palan Flesh Tone, but I think it's I'm not sure what it's called, but I think it's a scale 75 equivalent, but basically just a nice neutral Anglo tone and just like a thin coat of that over it, like thin enough so that it's transparent.
The thing is, middle square. I think that perhaps he's trying to go for a bit of fur, a light coat of fur type of skin, like not proper skin.
I'm not sure.
Maybe he's covered in fur and kind of coloration.
Maybe. I can't say one way or the other. Alright, would anyone from the Discord like to comment?
It looks amazing, I think.
I think it looks neat.
Alright. Well, we will move on and we will go to the next one.
Okay.
Alright, we have another Larry.
More skin work. Not sure why, but I like working in green. I used magenta and red orange for the tongue. I was thinking about using Payne's Gray as a base for the metal shell because I don't want just straight up black armor or to use regular metallics for the armor. The box art is kind of a dark gray, a little bit of a bluish tint, so that's why I was thinking Payne's Gray. I also saw this, it was a tank head model that someone had done on YouTube recently, and it was a real good dark gray like that, and I was thinking maybe something about that along those lines. While I was doing the skin there, I noticed that inside the jaw it has a couple of lamps, and at that time I hadn't seen any pictures that actually kind of emphasize showing that, and then I've happened to find one, so it's like, okay, good, I'm not the only one who's thinking about making him light up inside. But anyway, I used several different colors of green and a little bit of ice yellow mixed in for highlights. Still got to paint the teeth and the skull cap and all that, but
so is the boreal green sort of your shadow color?
The dark green, the base color, I put down the dark green.
Yep.
And then I did the boreal green over the top of that, which was a little bluer than I was expecting.
It is quite blue, isn't it?
Yeah, so it kind of ended up being a shade color without meaning to.
Yeah.
And then I did the Errati green as highlights. I did a couple of like mixes between the boreal and the Errati and built up to that, and then I did the Errati mixed with just a little bit of the ice yellow for the top part.
Well,
it's a very striking green, that's for sure.
The boreal, or are you talking about
no, like
the
overall? Once we see it,
yeah,
like a proper orchid green.
The only reason I commented on the boreal green is because I have that one myself, and I just thought to myself, interesting choice there, because I tried it out one time and I was sort of like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what happened to me. I was like, oh, I was looking more for a hunter green, but this works.
That's all right.
Trying to get away from using the contrast color for base color on orcs.
Yeah. Totally. I totally get it. But yeah, it's good hearing that part of the process, because I think what's really important for people to learn and understand is the fact that, hey, you don't start out perfect. I think we were talking with Painted Chips in here the other day, and he was just like, oh, I'm so afraid to start because... And, like, I felt like it was a pretty wild compliment for me. He's like, oh, I see you do stuff on stream, and I just think to myself, I could never do that. And I'm like, when I was looking at, like, painting the dogs, I'm like, oh, I'm such a cheat. I'm such an amateur here,
But it looks so good. The dogs turned out really great.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the dogs, but, like, you can still have that mindset. So I think it's important to hear other painters' stories and how they're just like, yeah, no, I had problems, and like just learning that this is just part of it. You're like,
yeah, you're like, okay, maybe I'm not the problem.
Yeah. All right, and next up we've got Kit. You ready?
Sure. Yeah, Monday Whip started on a Paz bust using turquoise as the base skin color, along with night blue shader to add some depth. I also put a bit of shader on a paintbrush and hit it with a blast of air from the airbrush to splatter some across the skin and add some variety. For the scales and such, I'll come back and add some yellow and or green.
Yeah, and what I do really like here is
speckling.
That you added this as sort of one of your inspirations. So what made you decide to use this color scheme here?
Well, I knew. So this is from. I actually got this idea from with Ninja a long time ago. There's this product called the Color Cube.
We know the Color Cube.
Get this. Yeah, but instead, since I didn't want to pay for the shipping of the boxes to Finland, I got the PDF versions. So I just used the PDF versions instead.
I didn't know they had PDF versions.
Yeah, and the PDF version is really cool because you can either, it's got a cool little menu thing, so you can like either go by a color, you can like basically select the color that you want, and find palettes based off of color.
How much was the PDF, if I may ask?
I don't remember. I think for both catalogs, it was maybe 60. I don't remember though. It may have been 50. Yeah, it wasn't cheap, but it wasn't super expensive. I mean, I kind of figured because that's my big problem a lot of times getting started. If I'm not using like a character sheet or a card from if I'm not trying to mimic the art from like a board game, it's like, oh, what colors do I want?
Yeah.
So just I knew I wanted really to do the orange. I knew I wanted kind of a turquoise skin, and I wanted an orange jacket. So I was like, and I wanted something kind of retro-y and stuff. So so I was just using those as my references. Started pulled up a couple of things to look at, and this one had all the colors
And so you used splatter from the airbrush. How'd you do the splatter?
I basically put a little bit onto the tip of the same brush I used for mixing paints and cleaning out my airbrush. Used a little bit of, I put a little bit of the night shader onto that, and then just blasted it with some air from the airbrush.
Okay, fair enough. So sort of
instead of using my finger and getting my finger all.
Yeah. So
yeah,
kind of like the toothbrush technique that we use, but in a different way.
Similar, just using the airbrush instead.
Because I think
creates like a freckled skin effect.
Yeah, I think it's turned out very well. But we see some more progress on this guy later on, so we'll talk about him a bit more in a bit, yeah?
Yeah.
Actually, the very next post.
Is it?
Oh, it is.
But
I like the jacket.
Let's talk more about this one.
All right, would you like to read out?
Paz. Yeah, a little more work on Paz. Need to pick a color for the shirt.
All right, so somebody said that they liked the color for the shirt, the orange?
The jacket. I just dig like the jacket. It looks. I like orange color. Not my favorite color, but I think for leather jackets or like leather-esque jackets, they work, especially because you actually have the contrast of like teal and orange, which is
that's what I was going to comment on too. Yeah. So one of the things that I just wanted to point out with this one is, have you considered just using washes or oils in here to just try and get some depth with some of these things to sort of contour those really thin edges?
Yeah. In fact, I did a little bit at one point. I need to do some more. I did come in with, yeah. I tend to like to mix my own washes more than use. Yeah, I try to not rely on washes too much.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, no, I did come back and try to fill in some of those. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, but it's
I
not.
I have not noticed that we have had people talking in the chat this whole time. Have you
Yeah.
been keeping track?
I just saw. I didn't
Oh, okay.
until like just a few minutes ago.
All right. Well, we will catch up with that after this. So yeah, I think that I think like it could really use that. I do like the idea of the orange coat, but I think there is a cat or someone who has been invading your space because I notice a couple of hairs.
Yes.
Yes.
It's
So
actually sitting right next to me at the moment.
yeah.
And
So
there's something weird with the way that there's like those kind of wet looking spots. There's something, I don't know if I didn't have the resin fully cure or what, but yeah, there's some areas that were just like not taking paint well, or still even now look kind of wet. So,
yeah. I think it's a good looking bust. I think it's an interesting piece, and I think that you've been doing really well with the skin. I think that when it comes to the eyes, it might be a bit tricky to get them exactly right because I think, unfortunately, you don't want to shade them. You just want to put those little dots in to show the specular highlights.
Yeah, because it's like a pitch black eye.
Yeah.
One dot off to the
so
side.
it's a bit counterintuitive, but my biggest thing would be just like don't make yourself go crazy. And oi. Sorry.
Oh no, she's gone into the.
Yeah. 1 sec. Not allowed in there. On.
I know the cat is invading somewhere.
Yes.
All right. Sorry, but yeah. So I think that would be my biggest thing. Just excuse me. Just make sure that you don't cause too much hassles for yourself. And maybe.
Yeah, honestly, my plan was just to leave the eyes as just a shiny black globe. I mean, that was.
Yeah, I think still just doing like
I was gonna hit it with
the 2 white spots. I think that'd be good. But,
oh yeah, I see what you're saying. I see. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Because that'll
not
just
like for
add,
pupils, but just for highlights on.
Yeah, because it'll also bring a little bit of life to the eyes.
I see. We are continuing with Paz. Would you like to read out?
Oh yeah.
Monday Whip Pass continued, sticking with the constraints of the chosen palette. I went with deep gray for the shirt, along with some yellow trim to bring a bit more yellow into the mix. The blue and yellow beer. Okay. Beer a bit more. I don't know what that.
It's all right. It's all right. Look, we all have
I think it's
we all have that at
wow,
times.
I'm like, what? No, I'm just trying to figure out what I was trying to say. I think
it's all right. I have fruity dyslexia at time.
But overall, I think the color combo is working out great.
Yeah, I think that the colors are working out great for you.
He took away his lipstick as well.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. No, it was that was not working like
he's
I
like,
intended it to.
I'm a man. I'm a real man.
Indeed, he's
I'm a
real
shark man. The sharkest of men. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't even. I didn't have. It was. I couldn't keep it as clean as I wanted either. So it just looked messy. So I was just like, nah.
Well, we'll see how you go in the future. All right. So, do we have an RJ Warren in the chat? We do not.
Aww.
So you're gonna have to read out his very long post.
Okay.
You ready?
Okay, I'll try my best. I do, in fact, paint terrain. Apparently.
Yep, and this is a whip, so I'm not going to comment on this one right here because I think, much like Kit, very quickly he's done an update. But I'm really interested in the way that he's doing the glow. I think with some of this, in my opinion, it's a bit too intense.
It is.
Because I feel like it's just almost neon. So I'm just gonna see how much further it is along. Oh, it's a while down. Where is it? I saw it.
Seems it's not here.
No. Oh, maybe he's
in the Discord.
Yeah, maybe he's only done it on the Discord. All right, give me a second. It's time to
Whoopan.
It's time to whoopan. All right, I must do the scrolling. while we look at that post for a sec. All right, come on. Sorry.
Ah,
Yes.
there we
Yeah,
go.
I did. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Oh, I see what he was trying to do.
And see, this
I have
is
seen
what I was
this.
trying to show
I've
because
seen this exact technique on Pinterest. I believe Flameon Miniatures does it like this.
And I think that's worked out really well. The sort of
Like almost
crystal
cartoonish style.
I wouldn't exactly call it cartoonish style. But like I understand like why you might say that, but I think that this is very striking, especially when you do this. So where like when you
from far. Yeah.
From a distance.
Yeah.
It's like especially this is what I would call about 3 feet because we've actually got these at home.
Yeah.
These
tiles.
Just at the cottage. So I think that is a great way of doing things. And I think he's done really well with it. So that's why I wanted to comment on that. I just think that the glow has gone a bit too far. Because I feel like it's overwhelming.
It is when we look at it like this. I think when he adds on those white highlights and stuff.
Well, like here, let's open
bit,
let's open another one of them. Give me one moment. So I'll just open it here, right? We've also got to remember that this is a piece of terrain, right? And when you take a look at it like this, I think that if you tone this back a lot, so let's take a look at it here. See how there's just that pink everywhere, and it just makes it so that it doesn't feel as if it fits in the same...
Yeah, because it gets chopped off by the grid lines.
Yeah. But more than chopped off by the grid lines... I think a soft glow would actually treat it nicer.
Yes.
But would we like to catch up with the chat now? It's Radical Kid in the chat as well as in the other chat.
$50 for color catalog.
29's not too bad. And Penguin's doing a sneaky. Henry is the stocking judge.
Yeah, you're a stockings judge.
Yeah.
And Rumble is talking to himself.
Yes.
Doesn't everybody?
Yes, I see what you have done.
And Bongfoot says to dial the yellow back, use brown or purple wash, isolate the muscles with pink, and use a desaturated highlight. But yeah, so I think we are all caught up in there now. Let us move on to
John.
Gas. Gotta give it the gas tonight.
Well, I spent some time playing with my photography limited skills, but here are the pictures I submitted for the competition. I only let me submit 3 pictures for each entry. Thanks for all y'all's help and advice. Not going to lie, I am kind of glad this project is over. Now on to the next one. There are still about 3 days left for submissions, but I'll keep y'all posted on how it turns out. I hope he wins.
Yeah, well, let's hope for the best, my dude.
Oh, I've seen this.
That's a nice lion.
Yeah, it is.
It is a very good lion.
It's a very nice lion. So now that everything's submitted, because we didn't want to give as much feedback before, because a lot of the time what happens is, well, I don't know about you guys, but for me, the closer you get to the date, the more you question yourself. And when you're questioning yourself, especially when you've got a lot of pressure on, you don't always make the best decisions. How is it for you guys?
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep it relaxed. I participate in local painting competitions, mainly for Warhammer in this official store, and I usually try to not... I'm thinking closest, like week before submission, so I need to add more details, but I'm like, no, I'm just gonna keep it like good enough. But it's still like technically still good, but because overdoing on like smaller details can actually ruin the model, which I see. Actually, I think the example, no offense to Forge World painters, but some of their models, they overdid it with the small details on the Forge World miniatures on their website.
Wrong, man.
With the Forge World miniatures, I find it very frustrating because I think like they paint like characters like this, like you'd paint a tank, and I find their style very strange.
It doesn't work for a lot of miniatures, I'll be honest. It's like technically detailed, but like it just doesn't aesthetically work.
Yes,
I'd rather sacrifice detail for aesthetically pleasing miniature.
100% with you there. But so that's why we didn't want to give lots of extra advice getting closer to the date, because the other thing is, despite the fact that we know that I'm just a guy and Sunny's just a girl, some people put more, how could I say, like they consider our opinion higher than others, especially if they're especially if they're in the group, and so we didn't want to add a bit of extra pressure there. So Sunny, would you like to give your criticisms now fully so that he can work on that? Because we didn't want to give every single thing once he was getting closer and closer to it, because we didn't think it would be as beneficial.
I do think that the white background is throwing me off a bit with a lot of the highlights that's going on. I think a neutral gray background would work a lot better for this model, because you definitely don't want black, or else the armor's gonna blend right in. So
sorry to interrupt. It's
go for it.
I think that I feel like a lot of Warhammer official store, it actually uses not pure white, but like off-white background, just like white enough you recognize it's white, but like off-white, that it's not too like bright for the eyes.
Like Wraithbone white sort of thing?
Maybe I would say like the Hawthorne gray kind of tones, maybe a little bit lighter, but not like pure white. And so
I'm just going to see if I can look that up. Hawthorne gray. Oh, hold up. It had it a second ago. So we'll see if we can get the...
Well, not exactly that, but...
No. So roughly sort of... Oh, that's right. It puts it on the other side. That does not help anyone. So roughly something along that sort of, like this white sort of here. Not so starkly white like the background of Google. That's totally fair. So, Sunny, did you have anything more you wanted to say beyond the white background?
I feel like there's everything that we have said already.
Yeah.
I feel at this point I'm not sure what else I could point out.
So I'll just pretty much reiterate the things that I think that we've already said. So I think that this green down here could be cleaned up a little. I think that the hair is a bit
too
yellow. Yeah.
Could really stretch the browns for the shadows on the roots, and then
give it some more depth.
But of course, that's if you were to properly start with like browns and bones and creams to make the blonde.
Yep.
But because he's gone for the yellow, it's a bit.
I mean, like, if...
It's not the worst thing in the world, but yeah.
Yeah, no. I think it's a good-looking model. But what we're trying to do is he is trying to create a showcase piece. So, like, now that he's entered, like, now I feel we can say things without sort of causing, any
additional
issues.
Problems, yeah.
Yeah. So I think I'll say the same thing that we said last time, which is essentially, rather than using paints to stain your capes, try using pure pigment. Just powder and that sort of stuff, because I think that comes off a lot more naturalistic, especially when you've got a nice ground like this. So I think the ground he's done very well. I think the coal and the lantern he's done very well. I like some of the scratches on here, except I think that they could have a bit more depth. So you see how it's just that one scratch, right? What you can do is you can give it some illusion of depth by painting a black line underneath
it. Yeah,
yep.
And that creates the illusion
yep.
of a recess.
Yep.
And then on the other side, the top, a very light gray
yep.
or,
yep.
or white to create that protrusion.
Yeah, but there is one thing that I want to point out when we're giving some of these criticisms, right? That's not to say that this is a bad piece at all, because I think he's done very well with the sword. Certainly better than I can. When it comes to like swords and metals, that's where I seem to fall down a lot.
With like steels.
Yeah.
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 But gold is pretty easy.
Gold I have no problem with. But yeah, so like I think that you've done very well, but those are the criticisms that I would give for this one. And I know that you posted this guy up a lot, so that's why I wanted to give those criticisms. Now, I think we've talked on this guy before. I think maybe having a slightly darker blue, like
So
when I say
like a cataract eye, is that how?
Yeah, I do believe it's meant to be a cataract eye, but either a slightly darker blue or you might want to have like a sort of more milky.
Yeah, like it should look more like this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you've got a ring of brown or whatever the eye color it is that you want.
Which I think was the green.
And then you've got to have like a cloudy gray right in the.
But to be fair, he could have one of the what's the two-tone heterochromia?
Heterochromia.
Yeah. But like when I look at this guy, he's fine. But I will say that I think that your line came out a lot better. I think the skin could be worked on quite a bit, like adding highlights, or because we don't have that same level of depth, in my opinion. For example, I think Larry's miniature has a lot of depth when you compare it over here. Now, I know that skin is really hard, so I'm not trying to give you a hard time or anything, but the reason why we want to say these bits now is so that hopefully when you go into your next competition, you've got those things to keep in mind, and hopefully this will help.
Yeah.
And we hope that we didn't put too much pressure on, and we hope we don't feel as if like you feel let down that we didn't say these things, because I think we said all of those things before, but we wanted to back off a lot when it came closer to the competition.
Yeah, because like at that point, like you might be putting too much pressure and go do something, and then it messes it up.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just leave it, Okay, now we got Chris Shah. Eventually went over the wings with some turquoise oils and interesting effect.
Oh, yeah.
Still learning how to prepare surfaces for oils, but not too bad. Yeah, love.
Yeah, no, I think it looks...
that.
Oh, what's this?
It's
We
a
have video.
It kind of looks like it shifts a bit.
Oh, yeah, it does just slightly, not massively.
But it's a cool effect.
Yeah. Yeah, that's nice.
Very lovely.
But, so yeah, just taking a look at it.
I really
like
love it.
It's added everything that we talked about before. I think it's absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
It
just ties everything together.
It really does. I think my only complaint is that this guy needs to be in a light box, and we need to see some more shots of him.
Like this looks quite fun. Like one of those. What kind of shot is this? I don't know. It's like one of those Kickstarters.
Oh, right. Yeah, you got the cacao product in the. It's like
chow. It's like, and it's like, look at my fancy model I painted.
Yeah, and there's the shot glass there too, and the brush. It's all just sort of
very
perfectly
photogenic.
Yeah. It's like
product photography.
Ciao.
Like shot glasses there, double purpose.
Yes.
Once you're done with painting, you just need to relax. You get like some Everclear, a drink to clean the brushes.
Yeah, but I'll just point out, guys, we do not recommend drinking paint water nor licking the brushes, even though I might do that myself. Do you guys want to comment on this one at all?
I really like the turquoise on it.
It looks good.
Yeah.
This he says it was a turquoise oil. Did he just actually use oil paint, or did he do like a wash?
I think he did a wash, according to this.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, wings with some. Went over the wings with some turquoise oils and. Okay.
So I'm not sure whether he just like thinned the oil or
just, like,
or what he did with it, but I think it looks absolutely fantastic now. Yeah. Yeah.
Blue and purple.
All right. Unless anybody else wants to add anything, I'll move on.
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay.
All right.
Next, we have James.
James.
Doing my first model base since 2003. I got a crash course in basic basing from WAYPN.
Yep.
Thanks again. Been doing it in steps and still got a couple more steps to go before I call it finished. Want to see what I called finished back in 2003? Check it out tomorrow for Throwback Thursday. I done the snow base.
Yeah. So we'll see how it turns out, but I tried to teach James how to use some of the snow products and about how you want to have that other stuff built up, which I think he's done pretty well because like it's very basic.
Yes.
But
I get it.
But like he's got that gravel underneath it, and you can see just by having something underneath the snow, so it's just peeking through.
Feels
like
very crunchy.
Well, it feels more visceral. It doesn't feel as if it's just like I added a whole lot of white to my base sort of thing.
Fair enough.
And I think that's come together very well. So I'm looking forward to seeing the additional steps that he's going to do with this, and I think it's looking great. What about you?
I think it really looks good. Like I can hear the noises of the crunching of the snow.
Against the gravel.
Yeah, so you've done a good job when you can hear the noises in your mind or smell things. That you really bring the verisimilitude.
Yes, the verisimilitude. The very simulation, dude.
The very simulation.
Well,
dude.
it is time for another Larry. Oh my god, this is a long post.
Memes.
You're gonna have to.
Let's just read until.
Hey, it's Larry. Larry has to.
Yeah, Larry will read it.
Yeah. Would you be able to read the highlighted passage, please?
Highlighted passage. Okay. There are creatures that inhabit the subconscious mind, pushing through stark images in the imagination, trying to vainly find purchase in the waking world through the feeble efforts of clumsy hands. They are shadows half seen, the sibilant hiss of a breeze in the woods mingled with the incessant buzzing, barely understood. They are the whisperers in darkness.
Very nice, very nice. I think that was great.
Is this your own poem?
It's a poem.
Yeah, it's not a poem, but I did write it. Yeah.
Writing.
Yes, and I'm glad that I heard you read out syllabant, because I was like, "Yep, that's a word." I know words. But yeah, so I think it looks really great from here. But I think when we start going to some of the other angles, like I think that looks great, but I think
I love this one.
like this one?
I love this.
I thought this one was weak because I thought
just because you can't really see the monster, but like I feel like it's very picturesque, like the grass.
Yeah.
I was playing around a lot with exposures too, trying to get it to look right, but not too bright. Because it's supposed to be a night scene.
It feels very night scene.
Yes, it's not the 1990s Animorph night scenes where they just put a blue tint over it.
Yeah.
The Animorph. Oh gosh.
Like the concrete, I had concrete and gray all over it, and I thought, this doesn't look right, and I ended up putting a blue tint, or not blue, brown tint that I got from a hobby shop for like staining wood, and I just airbrushed it over the top of that.
I think
that and the grass, and it turned out the right shade.
So I remember when you were first doing this creature, you had a lot more black on it, and I think now that you were right. I think, like, looking at it, the way that you had way more, like, it was barely lit at all. If I could have seen like this at that point in time, I think I would have just agreed with you way more, because I think so.
The back half is still, I think, Darth Max or whatever it's called.
Matt Dark,
yes,
or whatever it is. Yeah, no, Darth.
Yeah.
Max Darth. That's it,
Max
isn't it?
Darth.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have a good one, Penguin. We will see you later.
Yeah.
Oh, yo, Bong. We cannot say those words there. You are not allowed. But yeah, I think this shot, but where you don't have sort of the bright lights on it, I think that's like what do you call it? The what's it? The golden angle.
Money shot?
Yeah, the golden angle. So not this one. I love this one right here.
Oh yeah, I love that shot too, yeah.
Like, that shot's really good.
It really looks like cinema.
But I think this is the golden shot right here. So as far as critique goes, I would say listen to us less, or me in particular.
You can't say that. You have to be specific.
Yeah, I was
just
about the
show me the plan.
about
you
the
say,
black.
Show me the plan.
Now, this is a very nitpicky sort of comment, but it really does take me out. But you might want to get what is it called? Some styrene card and put it on the side here, so that you've got one flat surface to block everything out, if that makes sense. You follow what I'm saying? Because when I looked at this, it was all so perfect, but just seeing those little, variations along there, it really took me out of it. And I'm not saying that you've done anything wrong with the construction of anything here, but I'm just saying, if you're going to show this off somewhere or something like that, or is this going to be a gift for somebody? What's the plan for this?
It's just something for me. It started off in my head about 3 or so years ago, and then my sister died, and I had to. I basically shelved it for a long time, and then finally decided to finish it this year.
I can understand how that would cause some issues. Death of a family member often does cause some pretty serious crashing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't blame you for that at all. But I think that this is an absolutely fantastic piece. What did you do for the cobwebbing over here?
Oh, Green Stuff World has some stuff called spider serum.
Ah, yep, I know the one.
Yeah. So that was the first time I ever used it. Fair warning to anybody: make sure you're wearing a mask and you have a good ventilator.
I see.
Because it was not pleasant at first.
All right. Well, would you recommend it though?
I think so. I don't think I did a perfect job on it, but it was also the first time I've ever used it. It came as a set with a bunch of other stuff, like their liquid pigments and stuff. And I was thinking, well, why not put a little bit in the corner, see how it works. Doesn't look as good as they do it in their how-to videos. But,
yeah, naturally.
But first time for everything, right?
Hey, yeah, no, of course, man, of course. Like, don't give yourself a hard time when you're trying out something new. Just try it out, see how things go. But Green Stuff World sort of doesn't have the best reputation, but I have gotten some things from them. So it's not as if I'm somebody who is completely immune to it either. But let us move on, because I think that we've beaten that dead horse. There's another post by Larry. Would he like to read it out?
Have fun this week.
You've got to finish reading it out.
He did.
Bob's job at Lockheed was everything he ever dreamed.
All right. Well, I think we'll just move on from that one, but yeah. All right. So next up, we've got Kit. You ready to read out, Kit?
Yep. Whip Wednesday, starting on Conan the General and Paz of the Gloves. I am not sure how I want to do the gun, and I still have not finished the gun.
Yeah, I've seen a bit of an update on the gun. So, you're just blocking in the colors, just showing off what you're doing, that sort of thing?
Yeah.
Is that like a chrome effect paint that you've used on the metals? Very shiny.
No, that is just Ionix brass.
That's brass?
Or bronze. I forget which one. I changed it because at first it was, I actually stripped this guy once and started over because originally I had zenithal him and I'm like, oh, that's going to suck for the metals. So I'm trying to remember which color I started with. I think that's either bronze or gold.
Yeah, because it's very bright.
Yeah.
Very, very bright.
Yeah, they're nice and shiny.
All right. I do believe we have an update on that one in not too long as well. Excuse me.
Okay, and we have...
Would you like to read out for James?
James, Throwback Thursday, WAYPN. Recently found my old Lord of the Rings High Elf army. I remember buying the issues, looking forward to getting more models and paints so I could paint them and play war games with my friends to recreate moments from the films. I loved the High Elves look, so I even went so far to order from Games Workshop the metal models for Gilgalad, High King, and Elrond's sons. Feel free to judge what I called done/finished all those years ago.
Hey, no, look, don't judge yourself too harshly for when you go back, because I believe that at this point in time, James was still a kid. And look,
pretty good for a kid.
Pretty good for a kid. I mean, like, needs some brush control to keep things in those areas. But I think it's great to take a look back at where you started and realize how far you've come. Because I think that they look good. They
do.
Like, I'm not going to say they're great. They're perfectly passable. They do their job.
Yeah.
And if you want to play with your minis, right? Remember, everybody has different goals. And our goal is not to harass you because you're trying something different. Our goal is to help you achieve your goals. Like, we talked very differently about Lance's stuff compared to Chris Shah or compared to
John.
Yeah, exactly. Because people have different goals, and that's totally okay. So we have some more by James. Would you like to read this one out?
Throwback Thursday, some of my old Lord of the Rings models that I based. Been having flashbacks, but it shows how much I have improved my modeled skills.
Yeah, and like I don't think that all of it's bad. I mean, like, there is a lot of carryover on that base. But, like, take a look at where you were. Don't just look at it and go, oh, it was so bad. Take a look at what you did well. Take a look at where you've improved, all of this sort of thing. Because if we just give ourselves hassles, right, we're not going to accomplish anything, are we?
No, we're not going to accomplish anything.
You can look at it and you can go, all right, well, like, take a look at the Uruk-hai shield there. He has pretty great blocking. Like, he puts everything in the right areas, and that's improvement from the elves before. Just small things, but it matters. All right, we've got another.
Like back on the menu, boys.
We've got another throwback, which was featured in the other throwback. Would you like to read, Larry?
Ain't Thursday here yet, but I'm too beat to do anything today, so it's whatever Wednesday or something. Kit was
That's a good
posting
joke.
Conans, and I felt left out, and I didn't want to feel left out, so I posted a not Conan that I did back 30-something years ago,
Oh,
back in
yes.
the 80s. This blister pack of 3 generic barbarians from Ralpartha, and this one happened to look like Arnold.
Yes.
Yep. Just
I
happened to.
noticed that.
Just
Happened to.
purely
What
accidental.
yes.
But yeah, this one's always been something of that I've been proud of, because it was the first time I ever used a wash. I did some red over the skin, and looks a lot more sunny, ready in person than it does on the camera for some reason. But
I think it looks good, man. It looks good.
Very
Yeah.
clean.
Yeah.
I think you even did some
especially
work
for
on the
the 80s.
eyes.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because people didn't know anything about painting back then. It's just like, how do you paint miniatures? You put paint on them?
The sculpt
Basically,
actually
I
looks
think
like
acrylics
Arnold's.
were.
But yeah, we'll move on. But
Moving on.
I think it's great, man. All right, so next up we have Kit. You ready?
Yeah. Thursday morning work. A little more work on my least favorite of Monolith's Conan variants, Conan the General. My neck has been really bothering me lately, so painting sessions have been pretty short.
And look, once again, I'm using Kit as our example here, but just remember, like, it's little things like this that can cause issues, but just remember, guys, some of the times you're gonna want to power through, and I know that's not the advice that people like hearing, because the thing is, when you're in pain, often that's all you can see. And like, I've had a lot of various pain in my time. Well, good news. Like, all my burns are healed up now.
Yeah.
You guys saw that video. So I mean, like, some of the times that's all you can see, and if that's the case, you just, like, you got to make a choice. You're either going to work through it and get something done and be proud of that and allow yourself to distract yourself, or you got to take care of yourself. So what have you done, Kit, and what do you plan to do?
I see. I need to paint the base. Probably need to do some more work on the cloak. And add some highlights on the skin. Probably do a few touch ups on. Probably add a few more highlights on the armor. Oh, and that sword hilt. I threw some rust color on there, but haven't done anything else. So yeah, it's still pretty. But I won't do too much more on it. Just a couple of little things to clean it up.
Trying to get it up to tabletop so that we can play games with it. Yep.
I mean, this particular character is only used in like 4 of the scenarios of the several.
It is very frustrating, and I know myself, I spend way too much time on that. Well, next up we've got an all-star contributor, apparently.
All-star.
Joseph. Would you like to read that out?
No delivery yet, so I've had a dig around and found 2 terrain pieces to build and paint. The tower glue is drying. Tomorrow I hope to cast it in a mix of PVA and baking soda to give it a milestone texture and hide the joints. Never used the mix before, so advice on ratios and if it's safe to add water, appreciated. I also found some fences. I could use a recipe for old dirty bark. I have one for fresh living bark, but that would look wrong. I also found a Transformers model kit cheap on eBay. I might start work on him this weekend, as I fear PVA will take many days to dry, enough to survive heavy-handed dry brush.
Well, so when it comes to these things, what I do know is that they're a pain in the tuchus, but I think that they can often turn out great. One thing to consider, maybe instead of making your own paste, that sort of thing, is getting some L joints. some styrene L joints and just putting that on the side here to hide those very obvious joins there, and then just do whatever with the rest. Because just doing things like that can really help elevate these sorts of things. Because I think a lot of the times MDF terrain gets a very bad rap, but it's not as bad as people say.
Yeah, I think that would totally be it. I think it looks good,
Yeah.
serviceable.
Yeah.
Could paint it if you really wanted to, but terrain. It just.
Well, it's Joseph. He's gonna paint it.
Of course he will. We'll see how it looks.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to living bark versus logs like that, I think honestly just use your living bark recipe. Like, that's what I would do. Alright, so next up, we have Andy, just blue tacked together.
Yeah, just blue tacked together for now, but pleased with how this is coming together. Started more work on the base with some glowing pumpkins. Progress is being made.
I think that...
Right? Pumpkin. This one pumpkin is green.
Yes, it does seem completely green. But I think this shot right here gives us a much better idea of how it's all going to look together.
Yeah.
And I think it's looking pretty interesting. What about you?
I think it looks really... I didn't expect it to look the way that it does, because I didn't think that they would all be sitting on the same broom.
Neither did I.
But that's cool. They're all sitting on the same broom and flying off somewhere. Very Halloween. It feels very Powerpuff Girls, but Halloween as well. The green, pink, somewhat blue.
I do not remember that the Powerpuff Girls were wearing stockings and...
the adult versions, I suppose.
Oh no, we cannot talk about the
Powerpuff
adult
women.
versions of
But I
the
do think
Powerpuff Girls.
The green could use a bit more variation, because the value of the blue is flashing too much with the green. It's same values.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah,
I think maybe either some depth in the shadows or just really push those highlights.
Yeah, I think other than that, everything else looks pretty good to me.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
I like the composition.
Yeah,
actually, it's a cool model.
Looks cool.
All right. Well, let us move on. And
oh my gosh, it's a Joe R. Sutton.
Joe R. Sutton
It has
adventure.
not been seen for so long.
Yes.
Good day. Oh no, I can't read Joe. Joe is you.
Good day, you beautiful people. Sorry I've been missing, but work and the kids is taking up too much time. Here is what I've been up to since the last post. Enjoy the Joe R. Sutton adventure.
Yes.
And so we shall. Let us journey off, gentlemen.
Ooh, this is lovely.
All right. Let us see how things progress. We have Angry Man with face.
Yes.
We have Less Angry Man with recessed face.
I think it's the same guy.
It is the... Is it?
I think it's the progress of the same dude.
Yeah. I think the progress shots are a bit out of order, though, because it looks like this is earlier on than here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's done the leathers, and then he put on the golds.
Yeah, and now he's adding all the blood and verdigris and such. The verdigris is looking great.
Very nice.
But we'll see how this progresses. Okay, so...
Is this Warcry?
Yeah, I do believe this is...
Yeah.
Oh, no, it can't be Warcry, because Warcry is just all Chaos Warvans fighting each other. I think this is...
Not anymore.
Not anymore? Did they change?
I think for the past year and a half at least, it's been multiple, including like the Order faction. I mean, there are multiple Stormcast Warcry lists and whatnot, and a lot of orcs.
Did they still ban all of those other ones? The old model lists?
Ish. Like, they are legends, so they don't get competitive updates, but you can still build the list with them and play casually, but don't expect them to be updated for actual competitions.
Well, maybe they'll still be competitive even though they're in Legends. You can always hope. Hope is an option. But yeah, I think these.
It's so consistent and clean.
Yep.
This is good. I like Snowy Base. It looks good because of all the additional stuff beside the snow.
Yeah, you're talking about the stones and such.
Yeah, and the grass, it just adds a little bit of like dimension to it because, like, again, flat snow is boring. Snow with like other stuff, even just minimal, it just works so much better. It makes it look 10 times better, in my opinion.
Exactly, I couldn't agree more.
I think it's come out very clean, and all of the depth and shadows has been really brought out, and I think that's very nice. The blues are also not too overpowering, and the reds really pop just nicely. You've got a good amount of the muted colors and the saturated colors. I really can't find anything else to improve about it.
Yeah, I think that they look great too. I think that what's good is he's really worked on contrast, in my opinion.
Yeah.
There's a great level of contrast with all of it. Like, for example, this blue that he's chosen, I think is a good blue. Because if you had have chosen a very light blue, which you could do for an ice team like this, it might have sort of blended a little bit with the snow, or
yeah, it would not well, I guess even if it didn't stand out, it could be like part of their camouflage, but it never is the case when it's minis.
Yeah.
You want to see everything.
But yeah, I think he's done really well with the bases. I think we're going to see more work on this guy.
You never want camouflage on your mini.
This does look to be some sort of mask.
Yeah.
And okay. What do we have going on here? Seems like he's. I wonder if these are Trench Crusade things based off the rubble sort of thing. Yes. Yeah, it's Trench
the mosquito
Crusade.
Dog.
Yes, we know the mosquito dog. The very disgusting mosquito dog. But I love the way that he does up his bases. It's always so beautiful the way he does up his bases, because like one of the biggest thing, like I think, I don't know, maybe it's just a sort of English UK thing. Both Joe Sutton and Joseph are really good at bases, but for different things. So like Joe always goes all out, but I think Joseph is like the master of doing exactly enough, right? But here, I think, you've got that rust, right? And it's not too red that it will take away from, what are these things?
Sacks.
Oh yeah, the blood sacks, and I think these things are called proboscis.
I don't know.
I'm not 100% sure. But then you've also see the bone's got yellow in it, but enough that it contrasts against
the
yeah, and it's just little things like that, and yeah, I think it really, really helps with all of this.
All the subtleties come together.
Nothing crazy, but yeah, like I think all of this has come together so nicely. So funny seeing him just appear here in the background, because we saw him earlier and we never saw the snow update. But I think all of these guys look absolutely fantastic. I think because we saw him build this little snowboard before, and I think I went away from this guy at the very start because I thought we were gonna see more, but I wonder if this guy is going to be like a 40k model now, or if it's going to be a Trench Crusade.
It looks like Master of Execution Kid Bash.
Yeah, but like whether it will remain a 40k model or it will turn into you know, one of those
Trench
other ones.
Crusade.
Yes, hello, Pulsar.
I mean,
Yeah, go.
it is Mark 6 armor, so
Yeah, but I
the
mean,
star packs.
technically,
Yeah, I get.
like it's miniature agnostic, so like that's the reason why I bring up that question. But I think
Yeah,
it's I think
as
it's
long as the other person agrees that it is stands for that, I think any model could be any model. That's at least what my friend group agreed on.
yeah. Well,
But whenever
I think you've got to do your best to make the thing look like what you want it to be. You can't just go put in a striking scorpion and just say,
Use a Minnie Mouse model and say this is my striking.
yeah,
Scorpion.
yeah. Well, like, I think if it was your Minnie Mouse model and you're saying this is a striking scorpion because I've only got, and like there's 8 other striking scorpions, like, it's like, okay, I get it.
Close
As
an
soon as one of them dies, you take that off. But let's, for example, say you've got like a striking scorpion amongst all of these space marines, and you're like, okay, well, this one's going to be that. It's like, oh, all right. But when it's like a marine with a power fist, and you're like, well, he doesn't have a power fist. He's actually got a plasma pistol, and you know, da 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 da. And it's like, how much of this am I going to have to remember to keep track of?
Yeah.
Like that's where it gets a bit dodgy for me. But I think we're getting into the weeds, so let us move on to.
it's a cool model.
Yes, it is a very cool model. Yes, I agree. To Raven Tactica.
Finished her.
Instead of finish him.
That's what he said.
Yes.
Fatality.
Fatality.
Thank you. Someone got it.
Yeah, I did not get it. Oh,
No wins.
yeah. But here we see a lot of purple, orange, blues. It's a very nice color scheme that he's going for. I think the last time I saw this was on our Discord, and I said it's looking great. It just needs a little bit more smoothing out in the blends, especially.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, and then other than that, I think it's coming along good.
So
the white is a bit bright though.
Yeah, but look,
white doesn't photograph well.
Yeah, so here's what I would say. First off, just rim that base, right? And second of all, like when it comes to blacks and that sort of thing shown like this, that can help with a particular style. Like I've seen people do, what is it called? Cell shading style.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and use very stark blacks like this. But I don't
think that's what he's trying to
go
for.
Yeah, and that's kind of my point. Like I think like just using like a darker purple in there, and I would 100% agree with you. I'd say that the biggest thing is just smoothing out those blends, because I think that orange yellow has come through just very nicely.
Kiss. I do think the blues are. I feel like the pants is a different blue, and from the little cape blue, but I can't tell if that's what he was going for, because if it is, then it's too close a color. Or maybe he's just wanting to make
I think it's the same color. But also, I think Raven, you gotta tell us in the Discord. Tell us what your goals are, because like, if this is your tabletop, you're done. Don't worry about it. Forget everything that we've said. It's done. Everything's fine. But if you're going for like character level and you're trying to improve things and so on, like I think blends definitely one of the biggest things, and also maybe some what's that called, black lining for differentiating between the legs and the dress there, at the very least, and then just pushing the highlights, I would say, on those pants.
I do also. I'm curious to know how you want to do the face. Is she meant to be purple skinned?
Yeah, I think she's meant to be, because I think like there's a lot of work done on the face, but I don't think like it was accidental that he chose the purple and so on. So I think it's meant to be more a sort of...
I guess it's throwing me just because the top is also the exact same purple.
Yeah, I think
and it feels
using...
a bit out of place.
Yeah, using the similar colors has sort of made it feel a bit off.
Yeah, like if the top was like, if you can still do purple, you could do like maybe a red tone purple rather than a blue tone purple like you have here. You could do like magenta or burgundy-ish color just to try and differentiate it better. That would be my...
Yeah, well, I think look, the color choices are really interesting. I think the orange yellows come out really great. I think the base looks interesting, but I think once it's black rimmed, I think then it will look a lot different, and hopefully, like, I can comment on that a bit better.
Yeah.
But I think that's it, and that's it for this week.
It is.
And so we've gone a bit slower this time round because, of course, we've had less posts. And yes, I was missing this week, but I'll be more active next week. Sorry about that, guys. But in the meantime, keep those brushes wet. Bye-bye.
See ya.